Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanamdharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanamdharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanamdharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanamdharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanamdharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanamdharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. samsara davanalita loka tranaya karunya gana ganatvam
samsara davanalita loka tranaya karunya gana ganatvam
samsara davanalita loka tranaya karunya gana ganatvam
Praptasya kalyana gunanavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam
Praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam
Samsara davanalita loka tranaya karunya gana ganatvam
samsara davanalita loka tranaya karunya gana ganatvam
Praptasya kalyana gunanavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam
Praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam
Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Shriman Narayana
Everyone together, loud enough such that the gods themselves in the heavens may hear. Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Shriman Narayana
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna
Jaya Shri Guru.
Jaya Shri Guru
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate
Suryavansha Jayate.
Suryavansha Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
Om Tat Sat. Om Hri Om. Very good. Namaste, everyone. It is absolutely my pleasure to be here with you all today. We have, of course, online our international audience of individuals from throughout the world. Indeed, I looked quickly at the chat and I recognized quite a few people from many European nations, from India, from all over certainly the United States, North America, let me say, Canada as well, etc. And of course, we have our congregation here of individuals who are here in what we call the Vedic Heartland, our own growing community here in Omaha, Nebraska. And what we are going to be doing today is something very auspicious, something very special. We're going to be going through the very last verse, the conclusion of the Purusha Sukta. And indeed, as I said the last time, actually, this is a very important verse. It is the most important verse as far as I'm concerned, as what is called a devotee, that is an individual who is someone devoted to the Absolute. This is a very important verse for individuals like myself, but truthfully, even philosophically, it's an extremely important verse. And before we begin, there are several things I just wanted to say, and nothing of any groundbreaking news or anything like that. I just had the realization that, as we very often say our beginning invocations and ending invocations as well, not everyone in the audience necessarily knows what we are saying when we say, Jaya, Sriman Narayana, and the following things. Very quickly, I just wanted to go through exactly what it is that we are saying, because we say this each and every week. And before I begin, actually, if you can give me a few moments, can you do me a very quick favor? If you look at the camera, can you make it go up just a little bit? Because it looks like my head is being crushed right now. But very good. But enough such that it captures the whole body. Very good. Now it's a little bit too much space. Very good. There you go. It may seem like an unimportant thing, actually, but I learned from one of my gurus a long time ago that it is important when doing anything sacred that the totality of the person is seen. This is true in puja. That's why we don't do puja, for example, to a bust of Krishna or a bust of the Guru. Rather, the whole form has to be seen. So, thank you for your patience with that. But as I was saying, there are several things that we say as invocation and invocation in the beginning and at the very end. So I just wanted to explain quickly what these things actually mean. First of all, of course, we start with Jaya Sriman Narayana. This is a very, very, very ancient invocation. It is one of the most important, very specifically in the Sri Vaishnava tradition. And what we are saying is, first of all, Jaya. Jaya means victory. In every important language, you have this word, you have a word for victory, victory, victory. Again, in accordance with whatever language you're talking about. Well, in the ancient Sanskrit language, that word is Jaya, Jaya, which means literally victory. Well, when we say Jaya, Sriman Narayana, what we are saying is victory to God, and using the highest name for God, the highest designator, and that is Sriman Narayana. Sriman refers to, interestingly, the feminine aspect of God. God as Shakti, as power, as energy. This is known as Sri Lakshmi Devi. So this is what Sriman means. Narayana, Narayana is the more masculine aspect of God. So you have, to state it very technically, Shakti, Shaktiman. You have the power, and then you have that which wields the power. And both of them are in perfect harmony with one another. Indeed, interestingly, as human beings, when we get married, we are meant to duplicate this sort of transcendental, eternal schema. We are meant to actually replicate this in our own lives. Whereas when we get married, there is the man, there is the woman. The man is the Shaktiman, that is the individual who wields the power, but the wife is the Shakti, that is the power itself. So thus they are both to be respected. They are not equal, but one does not have meaning without the other. In the same way, this is how we see God. This is how we understand God. Not as a trinity, as in Christianity, but as two. One, yet two. One, yet two. There is one God, but that God can be seen, functionally speaking, as either the God or the goddess. Both have to be there. So that is what is meant by Sriman Narayana. The next thing that we say is Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So, again, victory to Bhagavan, the Lord, Shri, the appellation, auspicious, Krishna, Krishna. So we are offering our obeisances very specifically to a unique form of God known as Krishna, who many people have heard of, very few people understand. This is the avatara, quite literally the manifestation of God for our age, for the Kali Yuga. And this is why you hear about Krishna so much. You don't hear about the other avatars as much. You certainly hear about them, but Krishna you hear about all the time. More, Krishna is, of course, the speaker of Bhagavad Gita, the song of God. So you see, Bhagavan, Bhagavat, Bhagavad, Bhagavad Gita comes from the same verb root in Sanskrit. And why is this of such importance to us? This is the scripture for our age. Truthfully, all the Vedic scriptures are, but there are so many of them. And some of them are almost impossible for people today to understand, almost. Whereas the Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Bhagavan Sri Krishna very soon before the transition of the yugas, right before the Kali Yuga began. He spoke Bhagavad Gita for the denizens of our age, the Kali Yuga. So this is Lord Krishna. So thus, if we wish to understand the Vedic scriptures in a more easy sort of way, we read Bhagavad Gita. The next thing we say is Jaya Shri Guru. So again, victory to the auspicious Guru. And what we mean by this is, well, we don't shy away from this. New Age people, of course, in the last 50, 60, 70 years, they've destroyed the word guru to the point where people don't really understand what this word means. Sadly, when people hear the word guru, very often people will think of, oh, some weird cult leader or whatever. How unfortunate. This is a concept that goes back, stretches back, and this is not exaggeration or hyperbole. To the beginning of time. To the beginning. Because what have we been speaking about? The Purusha Sukta, quite literally cosmogony, how the world was first formed. That being the case, the first occurrence that happens at the beginning is Lord Brahma, who is the first being within our universe. He needs a guru. He needs someone to teach him. And who is that person who teaches Brahma? Anyone?
Brahman.
Brahman, yes. Who is more personal name?
Krishna.
Yes. Sriman Narayana. So God himself is the first guru. He teaches Brahma, and then it continues in that way. So we say Jaya Shri Guru, victory to the Guru. Next we say, and now we use a different form of Jaya in the form of Jayate. And it's for grammatical reasons as well as melodic reasons that sometimes you say Jaya, sometimes you say Jayate, but it means the same thing, victory. We say Sanatana Dharma Jayate, victory to Sanatana Dharma, victory to the eternal natural way, that path by which we can bring our lives to absolute perfection and joy and happiness and health and peace and every other auspicious thing that we as living beings desire in our hearts. That is the path, Sanatana Dharma, the eternal natural way, and we say victory to that path. The next thing that we say is Dharma Rashtra Jayate. So again, we use that Jayate rather than the Jaya. And what this means, very simply, is Dharma means Dharma, as we know. Rashtra. Rashtra means nation. Victory to the Dharma nation. And for those of us who are very serious followers of the International Sanatana Dharma Society, we know what we mean by that. There have been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Dharma nations in the past. Even up until relatively recently, 100 years ago, something like that. Arguably, Tibet was a Dharma nation. Arguably, Bhutan was a Dharma nation. Nepal was a Dharma nation until roughly 2012 when communists overthrew the king of Nepal, and on and on. Today, it's arguable whether there are any Dharma nations visible upon the earth plane. There are Dharma nations upon the earth, but they're not visible to the human eye right now. But we say, victory to the Dharma nation Jayate, meaning, certainly offering our obeisances to those divine civilizations that existed in the past, but more, in our mind, thinking of those divine dharmic civilizations that are about to appear upon the earth, even within our lifetime. So victory to such dharma nations. Then we say Suryavangsha Jayate. This means victory to what? This royal lineage of kings, to the monarchy. Right now, a hidden monarchy. In the past, a very visible monarchy. In the future, visible again. But not just any monarchy, not just some person who claims to be a king or a queen, but someone who is Suryavangsha. What does this mean? The solar dynasty. The solar dynasty. People generally don't know this. Some people do. Interestingly, some scholars, actually. I've met academicians who actually know this very well. They don't believe in it, but they know it, interestingly. But some actual spiritual people know this. Julius Evola was one of these individuals who understood this, that there is something called the solar dynasty that stretches back, quite literally, again, to the beginning of time. And this is a dynasty of royalty that begins hundreds of millions of years ago and continues. We've seen this in many nations of Asia. We've seen this in every nation of Europe. The last individual to consciously call himself such, Sun King, being Louis XIV of France, who literally had Surya, had the god of the sun as his symbol. So indeed, we say victory to the solar dynasty. And again, we're thinking not just of the past, we're thinking of that solar dynasty that is going to become manifest again upon the earth. Then we say International Sanatana Dharma Society, Jayate, victory to the International Sanatana Dharma Society. For people who may not be aware of this, as of right now, with the fact that I'm still alive, and even after I'm no longer upon this earth for quite a long time afterwards, the International Sanatana Dharma Society is and will continue to be for some time God's vehicle upon the earth. It will be the vehicle through which Dharma will be established upon the earth. And when I say Dharma being established, I mean not merely in the religious sense of that term, Dharma will be reestablished, but in every way, including civilizationally especially. Indeed, everything that we've just been talking about, Dharma nations, a lineage of royal kings who trace their ancestry back quite literally to the sun god. It is the International Sanatana Dharma Society and no one else who will bring this about. So thus, this is what we say at the beginning of everything. Also, just again as another fun aside, especially for those individuals who are somewhat new, you saw that at the very end of our ceremony, the puja ceremony, I took that silver object that looks somewhat like a crown, yes, right there, and I placed it on everyone's head. Now, everything else is somewhat self-explanatory, but what that is very specifically, Shatari, what that is very specifically are the footprints of God. When you have a chance, when everything is over, feel free to go and look on top of it, and you'll see quite literally 2 very nice little footprints. And it's symbolic of the footprints of God. So what are we saying? We are showing, well, let me back up. First, certainly, are we getting the blessings of God? Oh, absolutely. With everything that we do in our puja, throughout the ISDS, we get the blessings of God. But more, what are we showing by taking that upon our head? What we're showing is our humility, our surrender, our dedication, our devotion. What we are saying is that I take the lowest part of that Supreme Being and place it upon the highest part of myself. And in this way, what are we doing? We're showing what is actually the very goal, interestingly, of all true religion. And what is that? The eradication of ego. The eradication of what is ego? Me, me, me. I'm in charge. I'm in charge. Everything must come to me. All good things. That's ego. And instead, what we are saying is that no, I place God first. I don't disappear in this process of self-surrender. That's what some people fear, and that's their ego. Trust me. Do I seem like someone who has disappeared? You don't disappear. On the contrary, interestingly, when you surrender with humility at the feet of God, you don't become a nothing. Actually, you become empowered. And each of us today, if you have great goals in life, if your goal is, on the other hand, to just live a very humble life and just do what you need to do, we all need to be empowered today. We always need to be empowered, all beings do, but today, in this age especially, right now, we need to be empowered from above. Because the changes that are coming about right now, as we're beginning to see, scarcely, just scratching the surface, beginning to see, the changes that are coming about today, but more that will come about in the next several years, are going to be a rupture in history. In order to, not just get through this, but more, in order to help others at this time, others who need to be awakened, others who need help, others who need to be healed. We need to be empowered. What does that mean? That means, again, that we're fueled not just by our own fantasy and ego, but we are fueled by love, and we are fueled by true love. That love being a love that is completely transcendent, a love that is eternal, that is love for God. When we have this, we are empowered to do anything that is good. So that's why we have this concept of surrender to God. It's not a surrender like you're surrendering to the enemy. No, on the contrary. This is what every great sage, saint, wise person throughout history always understood. That surrender to the absolute is a surrender the likes of which, once you surrender, now you experience a freedom the likes of which you could have scarcely even imagined beforehand. You have a freedom, you have an empowerment that will give you what you need to have true happiness and more to bring happiness to others. So that's why we place that on our head, the feet of God, in order to symbolize this. God, I surrender unto you. If it is your will, you please empower me to do good in this world. So all that being said, thank you for listening to my little asides. Now we're going to look at the very last verse of the Purusha Sukta, and this is verse 24. And give me a moment to get this verse situated so I can see it well. So this is verse 24 of Purusha Sukta, and I will now read this. O Purusha, Supreme Person, the goddess Hri, that is the goddess of modesty, and Shri, that is Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance, are your consorts. Day and night are your lateral limbs. The stars are your form. The Ashvins are your widely opened mouth. O Purusha, fulfill our desire for self-knowledge, and also our desire for the enjoyments of this world. Give us all that we need. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let there be peace, peace, peace. So beautiful verse, and this is indeed the very end of Purusha Sukta. So now let's take a little bit of time and let's look at what is being said here. First of all, again, it is God under the name Purusha who is being addressed. And as we've said, all throughout the last, what has it been, 12 sessions now of looking at the Purusha Sukta, as we've said all throughout, especially at the beginning when we first defined this word. It means supreme person. Really, it means person. Generically speaking, Purusha means person. But again, you know who it's referring to in accordance with the context. That's how it works in the literature itself. In this case, it's speaking about not just person, but supreme person. That is what's been spoken of all throughout. So this is very nice that, again, God is addressed in a very personal way, and you know that it's God being addressed. O Purusha, and now what is said. The goddess Hri. Now let's stop there, because not many people have heard of this goddess. They've heard of Shri. Shri is Lakshmi Devi, but we'll get to that in a moment. Hri is, interestingly, an expansion of Lakshmi. It's also Lakshmi Devi, but it's a special form. And what she represents, and it's interesting, we were just talking about this a moment ago, she represents modesty. She represents humility. She represents gentleness. Oh, not passivity, but gentleness, meaning when you approach the goddess Hri, oh, what you see is a being the likes of which you simply love, and you realize that she exudes love. This is what's meant by gentleness, etc. So this is one of the consorts of Purusha. Now let's go on. And Shri. Shri is indeed Lakshmi Devi, as in Shriman. Remember a moment ago I was talking about Shriman Narayana. Well, Shriman comes from the word Shri. Shri is Lakshmi Devi. This is another one of the consorts of Narayana, or in this case, the specific word that's used is Purusha, the supreme person. And in this form, Lakshmi Devi is the goddess of prosperity, of abundance, of growth. That's why the people in the audience online saw this when we were doing our puja. But for the people here in our temple, if you look at the goddess holding 2 lotus flowers in her hands, this is why she's holding 2 lotus flowers, is she represents abundance, growth in nature, etc. She represents auspiciousness as well. So this is who Lakshmi Devi is. And how does this end? They are your consorts. Now, what is meant by this? Well, God, first of all, indeed, is, as I mentioned before, the Shaktiman, that is the masculine form, the masculine energy, such that he is the wielder of power, the wielder of energy. Well, interestingly, it's understood from the Vedic scriptures that God has an unlimited number of powers and energies, some of which are known to humans. Interestingly, the Vedic scriptures make this clear, some of which are not, because we truly cannot comprehend them to the point where we cannot even comprehend the words. This goes very deeply. You know, I've known this for a long time. I don't think I've actually ever said this out loud. When it comes to understanding God, tiny topic, no? When it comes to understanding God in Sanatana Dharma, there's a lot that we can know. I've said this, I don't shy away from this, and people who have tried to disprove me have had to sadly admit defeat. We understand the divine ontology, the actual nature of God, the attributes of God, etc., more than any other religion upon the face of the earth. And again, I don't say that lightly. And despite that fact, interestingly, God is so great that it is actually said in the scriptures, there are some aspects of him that we are not capable of knowing, to the point where we wouldn't even understand the word to describe it. It would just be a sound to us, but we wouldn't understand what the sound is designating. It's an amazing thing. So this is the nature of God, is that he has infinite powers, shaktis, what are called shaktis. And in this particular case, this is talking about only 2 of his shaktis. And again, one is Hri, that is the goddess of modesty, humility, etc. The other, and really the primary one, is Shri, or Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of growth and abundance and auspiciousness, etc. These are the consorts, among others. But now let's go on. Again, speaking about God. Day and night are your lateral limbs. How amazing. What's meant by lateral limbs? Arms. Very simple. But the exact translation, I can't think of the Sanskrit right now. I looked at it last night. But the actual word is not just arms, it's lateral limbs. That's how it's translated, according to Monier Williams, Apte, all the Sanskrit dictionaries. And it's interesting. Day and night. When we think of day and night, of course, day and night are something that are very solidified for us, and yet at the same time not. What is day? What is night? We understand, we could even explain both, but to grasp the essence of both is very, very difficult. It's a very, very difficult thing to do. These are considered to be merely the arms of God, which is truly an astounding thing. We all experience daytime, we all experience nighttime, we know the difference between both, but these are considered to be, in a way, symbolic, really, of the arms of God. And very specifically, daytime is the right arm, nighttime is the left arm. This is something else that many recent commentators of the Purusha Sukta know nothing about. They've never said this, but this is the traditional understanding, that the day is the right arm of God and nighttime is the left arm of God. We can go very deeply, actually too deeply, into why this is the case, but I want to first finish this verse. Let's go on to the next. The stars are your form. Absolutely amazing statement. Of course, today, living in cities, as most people do, it's difficult to see stars. You know, on a really clear, quote-unquote, clear night, if you're living in New York or Chicago or London or wherever, you can kind of see a few stars. No. Let me just ask, who here has been in serious, deep countryside? Please raise your hand. Every person here, very good. Am I shocked? Very nice. For those of us, oh yes, who have been serious camping, you know, not just, some little state park. I mean, serious camping, deep in the wild, on a serious farm or something. You look up and what do you see? You see an almost infinite ocean of stars, the grandeur of which has marveled man, human beings, since truly the beginning of time, at least on the earth plane, on this planet. For some beings, they are the stars, so it doesn't marvel them quite as much. Some of the gods are actually the stars. But for we as humans, we've always been amazed by the expanse that is there, the grandeur that is there, the mystery for some people that is there, etc., etc. Well, of course, this is again symbolic, and it's saying that the stars are your form. In other words, in the same way that there is that infinite expanse of light, that is what the form, quote unquote, of God, the Svarupa, the form of God, the spiritual form of God, that is what that form is like. When we think of the form of God, what do we think of? Really, what can we think of? Something akin to the stars, an infinite expanse of light, akin to the stars, keeping in mind that even the stars, as wondrous as I just explained they are in actuality an infinite step down from the grandeur of God. So we can only imagine what it is like to be in the presence of God. So again, these are just giving us hints, because this is all you can do. You know, how do you convey, how do you explain to someone what it means to be quite literally, no, not just talking about God, which is what humans in 2025 do, if they even do that, talk. Now, what does it mean to quite literally be in the presence of God? What does that mean? Can we explain? Can this be conveyed to individuals who are not in that presence? No, but you can use nice little hints like this, that the stars are your form. The Ashvins are your widely opened mouth. Now, this is interesting. Now, first, let me ask, who here has heard of the Ashvins? Just raise your hand. Okay, 3 people. All right, that's very good. They're not very well known. I forget the Greek word for them, but these are 2 brothers, 2 twin brothers. They're found all throughout what is called Indo-European religion, astronomy, astrology, etc., etc. You find them literally everywhere. Well, in Sanskrit, they are known as the Ashvins. These are two twins, and they have an enormous role to play, indeed, in astrology and astronomy, traditional astronomy. Not Einstein and junk like that. No, we're talking about traditional astronomy. They are very, very important. Indeed, I believe, are they Gemini? Are those the twins? Gemini? Yes. Same people. They are the Ashvins. And they are two gods who, they represent many things. Interestingly, they represent healing. Indeed, one of them, just like Dhanvantari on our altar, he also holds a bowl of healing elixir, interestingly. So this is one of the Ashvin twins. They represent healing. They represent auspiciousness. They represent goodness. They themselves are described again and again and again. This is true all throughout, not just overtly Vedic religion, but all throughout Europe, all throughout the Near East, etc. They are described as being young, as being very handsome, very noble, etc. They don't age. One represents sunrise, one represents sunset, but more, they both represent twilight. Why twilight? Why is twilight something of great importance? Interestingly, in Sanatana Dharma, twilight is understood to be a time in which the material world and, let's say, the immaterial world, that's a good name for it, just to keep it very general, where there is opening between the two. This is when Shiva, for example, roams the earth. There are many things that happen during twilight. Well, the Ashvins represent twilight as well. There's a lot that can be said about them. Again, there's a reason why you find them in pretty much every single ancient Indo-European culture upon the face of the earth, from Lithuania to ancient Rome, ancient Greece, Persia, certainly Sanatana Dharma, etc., etc., etc. But indeed, they represent the widely open mouth of the Purusha. Let's go on to the next sentence. And the next, really, two sentences are quite nice because it makes it now very personal, speaking of us, of humans, addressing the Purusha. O Purusha, fulfill our desire for self-knowledge. Very nice. So here is an actual very beautiful little prayer, very short but very sweet, in which we are asking God, please fulfill our desire for self-knowledge. Now, several things to be said about this. Seems very short, right? We could talk about this one sentence for how long?
3 days.
Almost. My knowledge is not unlimited. I would say 3 hours. 3 hours, but we won't, I promise. But let's talk about this a little bit. First of all, fulfill. What is meant by fulfill? How do we even attain self-knowledge? That is, how do we attain knowledge, true knowledge? Not just what time is it? Not just, is it sunny out? Not just factual knowledge, but eternal knowledge, wisdom. That knowledge that is akin to that which is the absolute, because it also is co-eternal. How do we attain that knowledge? Through our own self-study. A little bit. A little bit. That has to be there. It's necessary, especially in the beginning. That's why I've said to people, in the beginning, you're just starting your spiritual journey. Absolutely. Read as much as you can. Listen to as many different voices as you can. Not in a willy-nilly, everyone has their own truth, new age sort of nonsensical way. But no, in order that you yourself refine. You throw away the junk. Okay, refine. That obviously now logically does not make sense. Refine. This is something that's gone against the experience of both myself as a spiritual practitioner and every spiritual practitioner of the past, stretching into the past, who I have heard of. All right, throw that out and refine. That is certainly something that an individual has to do in the pursuit of truth. But why does this begin with a plea? Full words, in addition to our own self-study, our own self-propelling, when it comes to spirituality, we also need grace. We also need that source that is outside of ourselves and that is superior to ourselves. So thus, there's this prayer, please fulfill, please you also help me. And interestingly, fulfill our desire. That also is of importance, because truth is there. Let me state this again. Truth is there. Why do so few people know it? Truth is actually, and this is why I say this, sometimes it's a mystery that I say this, truth is not a mystery. If it were truly a mystery, then it actually wouldn't be truth. Because truth is of the nature that it is manifestation of God, and God would not dangle a carrot of truth before us for all eternity that we could never actually have. That's not God. God is love. God wants us to have truth. Truth is there for the taking, but how many desire it? No, not how many verbally say they want truth, no. Deep within, when truly push comes to shove, and they have all the micro choices that they have to make. I can pursue the path of truth or not. No. Oh, today I'll do not, and I'll come up with an excuse for why, justify. When we truly desire truth, to the point where nothing is of more importance to us than that truth, and when we, with humility, appeal to God for that truth, which is there, is slowly revealed to us. So thus, O Purusha, fulfill our desire for self-knowledge. See, this is how we begin. And now this clause is very interesting, as also our desire for the enjoyments of this world. Now, for those who are new to our channel, to our teachings, really the teachings of Sanatana Dharma, the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, this is something that's stated in the Vedic scriptures again and again and again. As spiritual people, are we to pursue only spiritual truth? And, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to drop out of whatever I'm doing. Forget about college. Forget that. Forget everything. No, I'm not going to get married. No, I found a really nice cave that I cleaned out, and it's habitable. I can live in there. I'm going to live in a cave, have no possessions. In fact, for that matter, I'm pretty much alone here in this cave. I don't even need clothing, don't need anything. I'm just going to do nothing but pursue truth. I'm going to be steeped in meditation for 16 hours a day. The rest of the time I'll sleep, take a bath, etc. Is that spirituality? Is that actual spirituality? Forget about doable spirituality. Is that really the path that truly spiritual people of the past have told us to do? And everyone's going like this. No, it's not. No, it's not. Now the thing is, can some people do that? Yeah, some people can do that, and that's perfectly fine, and we don't criticize. But we're talking about the vast majority of individuals who want to seriously and sincerely follow spirituality in 2025. What the Vedic scriptures tell us to do is to have actually a good harmony between being spiritual on the one hand, on the other hand, take care of your duties. Yes. Enjoy the things of this world, not in a hedonistic sort of way. That's what's interesting. But ultimately, tracing every, even material enjoyment that you have, every good, wholesome material enjoyment that you have, you trace that back to God. And in this way, you transcendentalize even what you are doing materially. What does this mean? This means that something as simple as you're going to eat an apple. Let me give the example that I've given a million times because it works. You have two people. There's not much difference between them other than they're two different people. They both sit at a table. The chairs look the same. It's one round table. In front of each of them, they have an apple. Not much difference between the apples, really. They look pretty much the same. Each of them at the same time picks up their respective apple, takes a bite, puts the apple down, chews, etc. One person, one of those people, ate that apple spiritually. The other ate the apple radically, materially. What's the difference? What's the difference? Similar apples, similar people, similar motion. Difference is internal. The difference is that One person inside looked at the apple, realized how beautiful. This is amazing what nature is like, that such a beautiful apple can come from nature. Such is the power of God. It is beyond our comprehension. God, thank you for this wonderful apple. And then he picks up the apple and he enjoys it, understanding it is the gift of God. The other person, oh, that looks good. That's going to taste good. The difference is internal. So in this way, of course, having the first person, the spiritual person, as our model, we can be within the world but not of the world. We can, what does this mean? Oh, we can have a job, we can have a career. We can have a career, not just a job, a true career where, we're making a lot of money and we're focused as a professional, etc. We can own a home, we can get married, we can have a family, we can have children, etc., 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 and quote unquote enjoy the things of this world, but in a wholesome way. In a wholesome way. Number one, sattvic. What does that mean? That means, again, wholesome, healthy, good. Good pleasures of this world. Not pornography, but to enjoy being with our wife who is like our soulmate, who we love and adore. See the difference? We can enjoy the things of this world, but what is the difference? That at all times we have God in the center of our awareness, in the center of our consciousness, such that we can even use the enjoyments of this world in such a way to remind us of Him, to remind us of that absolute. And in this way we have that perfect balance of the spiritual and the material. This was Krishna's message to Arjuna. For those who have not read Bhagavad Gita yet, please read Bhagavad Gita. And you'll be surprised. When the hippies of the 60s first read Bhagavad Gita, they didn't know what to make of it. Because they kind of knew in their general New Age sort of way, well, yeah, this is an important spiritual book. On the one hand. On the other hand, what did they see? Something that was anathema to them as hippies in the 60s. They saw that, oh, all right, well, here is Arjuna, a warrior, and he's about to engage in a battle, not just a battle, the First World War in all of history. World War I, what we call World War I, was nothing in comparison. The First World War was 5,200 years ago, the Mahabharata War. He's about to engage in this war, and his limbs begin to shake. He puts his bow and arrow down, and he says to Krishna, oh, Krishna, I cannot do this. I don't want to do this duty of being a warrior. I just want to be spiritual. And this boggled the minds of the hippies. What did Krishna say? Anyone, in your terminology, it doesn't have to be an exact quote. What does Krishna say to Arjuna?
Get up and fight.
Very good. Arjuna, stand and fight, he says to him. And that confused the hippies like crazy. And what was the point? Oh, he explained the point in 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. That Arjuna, your stereotype of the spiritual person, that you are not to do your duties in this world, but instead go live off somewhere and pretend that you're spiritual externally, that's not the path. The path is that, no, you have a duty. You are in this world. You have a duty. Do your duty. But at all times, Krishna as God, as the avatar says, think of me. Worship me, offer all your homage unto me, and in this way you will come to me. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhijimam namaskuru madevashasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, make me the center of your awareness, and that being the case, do your duty in a way that is detached, where you're simply doing it as your duty, but also in devotion to me, and in this way you spiritualize everything that you're doing. This is what Krishna says. So, in other words, what? What is being said here? That you will achieve self-knowledge, but also enjoy this world. Do what you need to in this world. Don't be an artificial renunciant. See, even the Buddha rejected that, if you know the story of the Buddha. For 6 years, he was an ascetic. For 6 years, there are depictions from, I believe, the Gandhara region. Don't quote me on that because it's been a long time since I studied this in graduate school. But there's a statue from what we now call Afghanistan, where it shows the Buddha when he's going through his self-mortification. And it's an amazing statue, actually. You can see images of it. Just Google it. And you see the Buddha sitting in meditation, and he's skin and bones. You literally see his ribs coming through. Why? Because he tried the path of the ascetic, and he got nowhere. So what's the realization that he had? This is the story. This is the story that every Buddhist knows, and that's there in the Pali literature. That as he's doing that, one day after 6 years, a little boy comes to him, and he says something to the effect of, "Oh, sir, you look so hungry." And he has a little container with milk, and he says, "Please, sir, have some milk." And Gautama Buddha opens his eyes, and he looks at the boy, and he looks at the milk, and he looks at himself, and he has a realization. This is not the way. I have to follow the middle path. Madhyama marga, the middle path. And he thanks the little boy, he drinks the milk, and now he feels health coming back to him. And now he sits and he truly meditates. And what does he achieve? To use the Pali nibbana or nirvana, he achieves self-realization. So it's an amazing thing. This is what we are to do, this middle path, such that we are fully spiritual, but we are fully present within the world. And let me tell you, this is the last thing I'm going to say about this clause, at least. Again, this is 2025. We are in not just the Kali Yuga, but do we see how our world has been? Do we see how our world has been? Do we see the denigration of the Kali Yuga? Do we see the degeneracy? Do we see the pain, the suffering, the depression, the meaninglessness with which people are walking around not knowing what to do? Do we see this? Well, it is up to us also to be engaged in the world, but as spiritual beings, again, to be in the world but not of the world, such that when people meet us, people who are in pain, they meet someone who personifies what it is that they are looking for, the end of that pain. So this is why, indeed, we need to be engaged in the world. This is not the time to be quote-unquote otherworldly. Trust me, I did it. Trust me, I lived in ashramas on 3 continents. North America, Europe, and India. And that was what I was meant to do at the time. But now we're living in this emergency situation. We are to go out into the world and save it. In whatever way we can, big or small, doesn't matter. It's the intent that matters. Big or small, we are to help people in any way that we can. But let's look now at the final 2 sentences. Give us all that we need. Oh, again, 3 hours. We could talk about this for 3 hours, but we won't. So again, praying to God, give us all that we need. Again, as holistic beings, as integrated beings, but who are multi-dimensional, every facet of who we are. Please give us all that we need. That means every external thing that we do need to come to us such that we can do good. It means help us with our health, with literally physical body. It means help us with our mind, give our mind peace. It means help us to understand and control our emotions. It means help us to have an intellect that is sharp like a sword, such that we can penetrate through to truth. It means help us to understand our true identity and to reject that which is artificial identity, again, false ego. It means help us, of course, ultimately spiritually. But give us everything that we need, please. Please, Lord, give us everything that we need. It's actually a perfect prayer when you think about it. In every aspect of who I am, please bless me. But bless me not just that then I can be an egotistical giant and to traverse the earth like a giant. No, please give me everything that I need such that I can now do good with everything you've given me, the healing you've given me. So that's what's meant by this. And then finally, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om. O Lord, let there be peace, peace, peace. This is how the Purusha Sukta ends, in this beautiful way. Why 3 times? My students know this. Why 3 times? Why not just once? Isn't that redundant? Why not just say, Om, peace. My students know what? Say it loud. Yes. To show several things. Throughout the Vedic scriptures, once in a while, again, literature in general is amazing. The Vedic scriptures, the Vedic literature is like no other literature on earth. Once in a while, you'll find something repeated specifically 3 times. Specifically. There are not just symbolic, there are actually very functional, important reasons for why this is the case, mantrically. But also for our purposes, this is of importance in order to emphasize something that we need to truly understand, or that truly needs to be made manifest. So the reason why you see this again and again throughout the scriptures, Om Shanti, 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 is because we are meant to experience peace in quite literally every sector of reality. See, I've said this before. When people hear the word peace, oh my Lord, they have the most surface level understanding. What's peace? What's peace? Oh, the opposite of war, the opposite of pain, the opposite of something, the opposite. And that's about as deep as people can think. What does peace mean? No one is punching me in the head right now. Oh, I'm at peace. That's what people tend to think. No, the peace that's being spoken of here is a peace that is of the nature, again, truly of the transcendent, in which anxiety does not even exist and cannot exist. And it is a peace that permeates all of reality. It permeates ourselves, again, in every single dimension of who we are. It penetrates everything around us, from quite literally the hellish regions to the Middle Earth regions here, where humans are, all the way to the heavens. Let there be peace all throughout. And peace meaning in the positive sense of that word. Not just, again, that, oh, no one is hitting me right now, oh, so therefore I guess I'm at peace. No. In the positive sense of that word, the via positiva sense of that word. And that is that, no, there is a peace that is of the nature of bliss. And the reason why this is the case is because now, as a being who was an illusion, now no longer being an illusion, I have realigned myself with that which is the source of all peace, what people in general call God, or the Absolute. That is what is meant by peace. And thus ends the Purusha Sukta, verse 24. Very good. And with that, let me say, first of all, thank you for being with us for this long. This is the 12th session, and we didn't go sequentially through all 12. We had a few days when we did something else, etc., special events. But thank you all for being here with us for these 12 sessions. For people who have not seen the earlier sessions, please just look at the previous videos. All sessions are there on the YouTube channel, the Dharma Nation channel. Plus, at some point, now that we're done, we will create a playlist on YouTube so that you can see them all in one place. But with that, let me tell people, just due to time, I'm going to skip questions and answers for right now. Rather, what are we going to do? Next week, we're going to have an hour-long session of just Q&A. Nothing but questions and answers. I promise I will do my best to not give a talk. I'll do my best. If I do, it will be 5 minutes. Yes, it will be 5 minutes. I may speak about something, but for 5 minutes. But no, the bulk of next week will be Q&A, Q&A, Q&A for at least an hour. Something like that. Very good. And as we leave our international audience, of course, for people here in our temple, you're welcome afterwards to ask any questions that you have. But again, I thank you all for being here. Just a few things I want to say very quickly that I often say. First of all, indeed, we have a Discord server, and it is not like any other Discord server that exists. It's not dedicated to video games or politics or this, that, or the other. It is the Discord server of the International Sanatana Dharma Society. And the link either is already on the chat. If not, it will be there very soon. If you are sincerely interested in knowing more about Sanatana Dharma, And that means speaking to our hundreds. We have hundreds of devotees on there who speak almost every language on earth from at least 70 nations now, something like that. Please join. And there is conversation that happens quite literally around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are discussion groups. There are all sorts of things that go on there. If you have sincere questions and you want to have actual dialogue with people, please join us on there. The other thing I want to say is please visit our website, dharmacentral.com. Dharmacentral.com has been a labor of love that has existed since 1998, when the ISDS itself was formed. We also formed a website at the exact same time. Very early internet. Very early internet. The internet really started to be used, what, in 95, 96, something like that. Well, that's how old our website is. Please visit when you have a chance. You'll see that our books are there, and I would strongly recommend that if especially you are a reader, please read our books. We have many books on there. Introduction to Sanatana Dharma, Interregnum, Living Dharma, Sanatana Dharma, the Eternal Natural Way, Principles of Perfect Leadership, the Dharma Manifesto, and on and on and on. I'm not going to name them all, I promise, but please read our books. Also, please donate, and I don't say this lightly. We have a nonprofit, what technically is called a 501c3, nonprofit religious movement, and that is truly what it is. And we run on donations, as do all nonprofits. And we don't apologize for that. There's no such thing as a nonprofit that doesn't need money. You accomplish nothing without money. No, we need your donations. If you can give a donation, whether it's $1, whether it's $10, whether it's $1 million, anything, please give a one-time donation if you can. Also, please feel free to become a monthly tithing member. You can become an actual member of the ISDS, and we have many members throughout the world. Please become a member if you can, and again, you choose how much you want to tithe every month. It can be 5, 10, 50, 100, etc. There's no limit to what you can tithe. So please help us in that way to continue with the work that we're doing. And with that, again, we will end here. I thank you all for being here. Please join us next week for Q&A. Namaste. And everyone together, including the noisy kitchen crew. Everyone together. Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Surya Vangsha Jayate.
Surya Vangsha Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
May Dharma be victorious. Evam Bhavatu. May it be so. And for any and all sentient beings who have the ears to hear this, the victory of Dharma is inevitable and unstoppable, and it shall be so. And with that, everyone, I leave you as I have for some time now, and as I will continue for a little bit longer with these words of Bhagavan Sri Krishna from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 66, wherein he says, Ma Shuchaha, do not fear.